Hello, everybody. Here we are, live again, another Sunday night. Tonight's topic was going to be about Rockstar games. It's going to be kind of Take-Two and Rockstar, but for the purpose of what I'm going to be going over, we're going to kind of summarize that into just Rockstar games. But I'll kind of delineate or differentiate between the two as we go over the entire thing we're doing here. I'm not sure how long this stream will be. This topic actually grew a lot more. So I wrote this originally. I jotted down some ideas back early on during COVID. As I had more time to think about topics, read news and whatnot. I had seen different things going on and was getting some ideas, moved around and whatnot. And as it's grown, things have happened. News moves fast, especially gaming news. A lot of things with games happen a lot, and a lot faster than maybe normal events, because you can have tons of updates for one game in the span of just a week, and it's amazing how fast that moves. So, for anyone who's not aware of the current state of things with how Rockstar Games has done with their two bigger properties, which are Red Dead Redemption, in this case, Red Dead Redemption 2, and the Red Dead Online, and then, of course, their old titles in that vein, and then as well as the Grand Theft Auto titles. We've seen a lot of stuff come and go as far as remakes and all that in between. So, and again, that's all looped into here. It all kind of has to do with the same topic, and the question is, has Rockstar Games gone too far in what they're doing, how they're treating their customers, the people that are playing the games, and the things they're doing, and what that looks like and everything. So, but yeah, we'll be spending some time talking about those different things. I've got a few line items, and again, as we do these chats, I learn kind of how to either trim them down or to look at what I'm talking about and see what's really relevant, and try to get better at this. Again, I wanted to do these for a while. I just hadn't really got into doing them. So here we are. I do have a lot more water this go. Last one, it was rough that I did because it was a lot of talking and not a lot of water. So this original topic that I had here, as I started getting it lined out notes, was is Rockstar ruining games? But I didn't think that was appropriate because I don't think they're ruining games. I don't think that's right. Is Rockstar changing games? No, I don't think they are. I don't think Take-Two's even changing games at this point. So we just kind of I settled on the, have they gone too far with their games? Have they gone, too far in those? So, to open it up, we'll start with a little bit different question than I think we started on the last one, which was about streaming. But in this case, is it even worth playing Rockstar games now? And the reason we're saying Rockstar games is because we're not touching the other Take-Two titles. We're looking specifically at Rockstar's two main heavy hitters, Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto, and in particular Grand Theft Auto, because that's the bigger problem here, and I'll explain why. But when it comes to Grand Theft Auto as a series, it's been pretty good. I mean, when I think of Rockstar, I think of a AAA game company that's producing really well-polished titles. Even back early on, if we look back to about Grand Theft Auto 3, for the time when that came out, Grand Theft Auto 3 was a great polished title. It looked amazing at the time. It may not have aged well, but it looked good at the time. Vice City was beautiful. That one looked really, really good. I mean, way, way ahead of where things had been. And I know I'm a little out of order here, but San Andreas was also good too for the time it came out. Considering when that game came out, just amazing. And I think San Andreas has aged a little bit better than Grand Theft Auto 3. San Andreas is very full. There's a lot going on in there. It is a game I have not played yet, but I've seen enough coverage on it that I know what's in that, and I know what that looks like. Compared to Grand Theft Auto 3, which I played extensively, it was fairly quiet. It was a fairly quiet game. Your lead character was very bland, So, all good games. All of them are titles that people still enjoy, still can have a lot of time in, and explore those worlds still. I want to play Vice. I want to go back and play Vice City. I think that it's still a fun game. It's one of my favorites. But with those games, we had a story, right? There was no real online interaction. Even Grand Theft Auto 4, I did enjoy to a degree. Looking back, it's not the best in the series, no, um, but it was good. It brought the game someplace else, and I understand that people have misgivings with that. I understand that they don't like it or it hasn't held up well. Um, but I've enjoyed those in the series. Then we get to GTA 5, and things changed. They had changed a few things up. We had the first really major iteration of an online. Now, if you don't know, Grand Theft Auto 4 did have an online aspect to it, but it was really basic. It was the same GTA map, much like GTA 5 recycles the same map for their online play. GTA 4 did the same thing, but there weren't, that I can remember, missions in GTA 4's online platform. It was strictly just run and gun. There, you just killed other players. Or in my experience, people came in and cheated and boosted your cash up. Is what they did. They'd shoot you and take your money after they did that. Stuff like that. But it wasn't enough of an online experience at the time that I saw very many people in there, and I really didn't get involved. I think I still have achievements left for that I didn't finish and probably will never be able to because they shut those servers down. It was an experiment they tried, and it kind of failed to a degree at that. But everything before GTA 5 was doing pretty good. And when GTA 5 came out, then people really started to express dislike for 4. We're really looking forward to 5. This trend continues as 6 is being announced, and people are starting to hate on 5 a little bit. Not as bad as 4 got. 4 got, man, people really just love to hate on Grand Theft Auto 4. They love that. But it did mark a huge departure because of what was coming at the time. I don't think anybody anticipated where Grand Theft Auto 5 and the online counterpart were going to go. I don't think anybody understood that. More so the online counterpart, because the game was the game. I don't, and I'll touch on this at the end too, because we're going to loop around, but I don't think any more games that Rockstar is going to produce are going to be as accessible as Grand Theft Auto 5 for story and the online were. And saying that the GTA Online in its current state is accessible is difficult, but it's not completely inaccurate. But as far as those games, I think we're never going to see anything in terms of what GTA 4 and previous was. I think the days of those types of stories are over, even though we have stuff coming up, and I'll explain all that. For those that don't know, who may be viewing this for the first time to understand the series, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out at an odd time in that it transitioned from multiple consoles. It was on PS3 and Xbox 360, and then it got moved up to PS4 and Xbox One, and then once again it was ported over to the next gen consoles. That's a game that saw 3 consoles. A friend of mine made a joke, and he said there used to be a console for each Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 5 will need 3 consoles, and in those, with Grand Theft Auto 5, I believe there was a limited transfer time for you to move your accounts over. If you go pick up a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 now, and with the online counterpart, and I could be wrong on this portion, but as far as I know, you can't port your progress over. You have to start back over. So, with all that though, Rockstar has milked, and in this case, we'll go ahead and add the caveat of Take-Two has benefited for this, mainly they've probably directed this to a degree. They've milked Grand Theft Auto 5 for everything they can get out of the online. Really, from here, that's where we depart from the GTA 5 main story mode. At this point, it's the online only, and that's it. That is essentially what Grand Theft Auto 5 is. Sure, GTA 5 had a story, but that really pales in comparison to what the online did. The online has tons of updates. That I know of, the main game has nothing new. Nothing. Hey, Frank Poppy, how you doing? For Xbox One, I got to move my progress to Nursery X. Yeah, for GTA 5. They did that for a while. I don't know if it's still the case, though. To be honest, I haven't touched GTA Online in a while now because I was very disappointed with a lot of things happening online. I just didn't like where things were going, and that kind of impacted the decision. But I know they were allowing progress to move over, but I think it was limited. I think when they first put it out, you could move content over, and then past that, it was like, sorry, you're starting over. But I could be wrong. If anybody pops in and knows otherwise, or if you're in this on YouTube later on, feel free to add a comment saying, as of whatever date, I can still do this. So, And so when I say that they've milked it, I mean, they have. They've literally milked it for as much as they can get. And I just don't see a future where their games aren't pay to win or pay to compete. And I'll explain why those things exist within GTA Online and where I see that bleeding over to. Because if you don't think it's pay to win to a degree, I have experience with that, as do a lot of other people online, and I'll explain my experience because that's what I have. I can try to tell you everybody else's experience, but ultimately I can tell you my firsthand experience. And as in it's an opinion piece here, that's all I have to give you. And right or wrong, this is how I feel about this game, where the franchise is going. So going on, when I bring these up, and I've read forums and people bring up similar complaints or similar issues, it's always, but they made Red Dead 2 and it had online, and I hear that a lot. Yeah, better weapons, vehicles, win fights. It gets worse than that though, and like I said, I'll explain into it's pretty bad. But yeah, people say, but they made Red Dead 2 and it had online. Yes, it did, but even after hearing this argument a lot, I really looked at that, and I've played Red Dead Online extensively. I have streams that I'm still going to get uploaded, and streams that I did on this channel where we played online for hours, and I mean hours. There was a point where I think my time in online was getting close to where my time in Division was for a bit. I was playing that much. I played so much of Red Dead Online. I still have not played Red Dead Redemption 2 because I got wrapped up in the online. I love the online. So, but the problem you have there with that argument is they did make Red Dead Online, but there was no way for them to make a lot of marketplace items to give people. It just was difficult. While the Red Dead Online had potential for making money in a marketplace, the Wild West is just not nearly as profitable as a modern city. You can only do so much, right? You can only customize horses so much before it looks ridiculous. That looks out of character for the game. There were no properties, not in the sense there were in Grand Theft Auto 5's online I completely slipped on that. GTA 5's online section. There was no mechanic like that, and there could have been. I think there could have been. Now, I don't know if there was a different team working on Red Dead Online. I'm gonna assume there was, but there was just a lot they couldn't do. The clothes could be only so varied before you run out. I mean, let's look at the Wild West. There were only so many outfits. There were only ever going to be so many, even with wild patterns. So the catalog was still pretty extensive for a Wild West game. I like the outfits in there. I think it's great. I love cosmetics. I'm one of those people that will grind to get cosmetics. There's a limit to that though. And to preface what I did before, when it comes to Rockstar games, I love the games they've produced. I've played almost everything that Rockstar's put out in the Grand Theft Auto vein. I have played the first Red Dead and Undead Nightmare. I have enjoyed the DLC for everything, including Grand Theft Auto 4 stuff. So I've played these pretty extensively. The only one I haven't is San Andreas. It's just a title I missed at the time. But, they did something different in Red Dead Online that they didn't do in Grand Theft Auto Online, which was seasons. They had the Outlaw Pass in Red Dead Online. I felt that made the game infinitely more playable. In addition to that, getting money was easier in Red Dead Online. Now, yeah, and everybody I've talked to says they love San Andreas. That's like one of the things. I think San Andreas has become, and maybe it always was, but it's become like the new Vegas of Rockstar games, right? That's the one everybody loves. Now they, unfortunately for Red Dead Online, the content they added, like Moonshiner and stuff, it was too easy and fast to complete everything in there. It was great. They're fun missions. I really enjoyed the story they tacked on for that. But it goes by so fast, and you can repeat them. I mean, it was definitely replayable, and it made getting money pretty easy, but it was flawed in that, because if you played in a group, it didn't reward you for playing in a group. So it did have its issues. Red Dead Online is not perfect by any means. It's a better experience, though. And they made it so if you didn't know, if you play Red Dead Online and let's say you have 4 friends playing with you and you do a Moonshiner mission, pardon me, and they're on your team for that, they have to be to be in the mission. Even if they help you complete the mission, they get so little money, it's not worth it for them to help you. It just isn't. Um, but the seasons were fun. Seasons were easy to complete. We were getting seasons done, I think, less than a month, if not sooner than that. We were getting done pretty fast. I had a good process worked out for those. We visited Madam a few times, more than a few times, to get money and get level ups. We completed missions, all of that. It worked out really well. As with most Rockstar games at this point with online experience, the online experience went badly because the player base can be very toxic on the online. You get a lot of people that have nothing else to do but grief. That's it. And yes, a lot of games, there are plenty of people who just grief in the online experience. I understand that's a component of online gaming. I also believe it's a component of online gaming because they're not doing anything about it, that they don't do enough. Rockstar does extremely little about that, and that's a Rockstar issue in how they handle it. And there's, as usual, there's reasons for these, but I could still enjoy Red Dead Online even with other players because I could still complete certain missions or still enjoy the world in pacifist mode. I could still get some missions done in pacifist mode. I could still make money in pacifist mode. For example, Red Dead Online, I could avoid doing the Moonshiner missions, avoid doing any actual missions, and just go hunt treasures around the map, turn them in and make money, and not have to worry about getting shot or killed. It was easy. It made it easy for me to run around online, do stuff, still make progress, and if I felt the map was empty enough, I could go do things. Additionally, the map view was a lot better in Red Dead Online because the waypointing system, or the map system for seeing where their players were, was limited down. If you're in Grand Theft Auto Online, you can immediately see where everybody's out on the map. You can attack them immediately, get right to them. It doesn't, you have to make the effort to get to them, yes, but it makes hunting down players a lot easier for people who grief. And this happened numerous times trying to get in there. Red Dead Online, if you're not within a proximity of someone, they can't see you. Now, you may be able to hear gunshots and stuff in the background, but they can't get to you right away, which means you can run missions. And a lot of people didn't camp out areas to get to. So now I could run pacifist mode, which means if I tried to run a mission and somebody attacked me, people would just wait to see you get the mission started. And then what they would do is they would camp out the area you were at. They would, like say you're doing the Moonshiner, they would wait by wherever your shack was at when you started a mission, and they would camp it. And then take out your wagon so you failed the mission immediately. But the beauty of that is once it was done, you could go into pacifist mode and you weren't getting attacked anymore. Granted, you couldn't run the mission, but in a lot of cases, Madam's payout rate for complete sets paid a lot higher. It took longer to complete, but they paid out a lot higher. I made most of the money I did from doing her stuff. And even with that, if you're just trying to get the dailies done for gold bars and stuff, you could still complete that pretty easily without having to be in a mission. Pardon me, guys. Live, what do you do? But with that aspect, I could complete a lot more tasks for the dailies in Red Dead Online and not have to worry about all the hurdles that GTA Online had. Now, I do understand that Red Dead Online, as well as Red Dead Redemption 2, got released much later in the lifespan of things. They put it out way after. I mean, GTA Online had been out for a while, but while I understand that and can appreciate that, I also have to remember that these games can be updated and changed. Making a change to the map in GTA Online would not be impossible to do. Again, we're not changing how the map looks. We're changing how the player positioning lookup works. That should not have been a hard fix, and it would have greatly improved some aspects of the game. And that's the thing. If I put pacifist mode on in GTA Online, I can't do anything. There is no way to make money in GTA Online that's effective. You just can't. There's nothing comparable to how Madam worked in, I think it's Madam Nazar. There's nothing comparable to how she was beneficial in Red Dead Online. Nothing. You can't just boost cars and turn them in for money in there, because I think it's Simeon who you do that for. He gives you a couple $100 for a car, maybe 1,000 max. Well, and then you can only turn in one per day. So that's awesome, but $1,000 per day Yeah, and Frank Poppy's got it right there. Even in passive mode, people always found some obscure way to take you down either way. Yeah, and then they could get something to explode near you. If you're in passive, they can still blow up your car, which in turn kills you, and they don't get aggro for it. So yeah, it doesn't help, you know. You could ignore players in Red Dead Online. You can't do that in. I mean, you can do it in GTA Online, but it doesn't work. Um, and you know that's where it's difficult. But in Red Dead Online, they kind of gave up on it for a bit because they weren't making the money. I paid for the passes. I did buy the Outlaw passes a few times. I bought the bars, and I did it because I knew I was going to get the rewards. I knew it was easy enough to do. It incentivized me to continue playing the game, but without an expansive catalog like GTA Online, just weren't making that money, and I think that's part of it. Now they did put on an update, and um, it's great that they did, but it feels like they waited so long. I think it left a lot of players out. And from what I understand, some players are returning. I've seen a few articles that have explained that some players are coming back to enjoy the new content, but it feels a little too late for that. And nothing kills a game's experience in the online better than doing that. Before this update came out of how they added content, and I didn't grab a link for it, unfortunately. I'll see if I can loop it in the YouTube vid, but a lot of people were pretty sure they were going to announce the shutdown of the online service for Red Dead. So, and I think and here's what's weird. They shut down the service for GTA 4's online, but I think you can go back and play the online for the original Red Dead Redemption and still get all the stuff done on there. So, but I haven't played the new content yet. I do plan to. That's probably going to be a stream at some point where I do that just to check it out and enjoy it. I still I've had great nights on stream. I don't know if anybody liked them out there. I don't have those numbers anymore, but I really enjoyed using there's a map site that you can go to that has maps for games with everything on there, and just going and getting the artifacts, hunting them down, collecting them until I had full sets, selling them at them, making the money, and it was great. It was a great treasure hunt night. I had a lot of fun with those. And I may do those again, off and on. I don't know. I had a goal where I wanted to buy everything in the catalog, all the clothes, everything that I could in Red Dead Online. So we may revisit that at some point. But those are long form streams. Those are not 2 hour streams. When I looked back at some of those videos, I have 8 to 9 hours per video running those treasure hunts. But for me, they were relaxing. The landscape in Red Dead is beautiful. It's amazing. If you've not played Red Dead Online or Red Dead 2, play either one because they share the same look. It looks beautiful. It is great. I have been actual places in the world out in the middle of wilderness where it looks just like in the game, or I should say the game looks just like in wilderness. Either way, it's good. So that brings us to the next thing is, where did GTA 5 go bad? The story was okay. It wasn't great. There was nothing particular that stuck out too much to me into it. I liked the story for it, but there was nothing just that stuck out. Frank says he loves just cruising around on a horse. Yeah, it's just a great experience. It can be relaxing, it can be adventurous, but yeah, it's a good setup in there. But GTA 5 story feels short. And I liked it, but I can't say I liked it as much as, say, Vice City. Vice City felt really good and gritty and in it. San Andreas looks more involved and enveloped. Where with, GTA 5, I like the characters. I love the characters, and I think the characters are good, but the story feels almost lackluster to a degree. And I'm not hating on it. It's just, it's like saying, which Die Hard movie is my favorite Die Hard movie? I love them all, but I have favorites for sure, And a lot of people hate the story of GTA 5 and claim they only play for the online experience. And I think that's because the online experience gave them an easy win to a degree. And that's further on down here while I explain that. But they say they hate the story. Oh, I hate the story. I'm only playing for the online. But that was kind of the cost of entry to the online, right? Was having to buy the main game. You didn't have to play the main game to get online. Not that I remember. I think you can just start playing online whenever. The story is short, though, so you're quickly moved to the online experience, and that is not a mistake. Rockstar developed this to get you to understand how to play the game play the online experience by playing the main game, just the controls and whatnot. So you get a whole game, where you learn to do all the usual stuff you used to doing, navigate the new city, understand the city in a safe sandbox mode, so to speak. And then you immediately get thrown right into the online experience because there's nothing left to do in the main game. There wasn't a lot of content in the main game. It's pretty easy to finish. A lot of people are able to run that fairly quick. And so they move you over. And that's because really the only money to be made in the story mode is the purchase price. That's it. Let's say the game, you're getting the game for $60. The only money to be made on the main game is the $60 purchase price. That's it. And as with most games, they understand that if a person's buying the game once, that's all the money they're going to get. A lot of companies are fine making the $60, $80, whatever it is. Some are going to $80 now. But they're fine making the $60 to move on and make another game after they've got enough people in to buy it. So, there are some costs in there. I don't know the entire math of it, but it's $6 a copy. If 2 million people buy your game, that's a good chunk of money. But you do have your development costs, of course. You have a lot of those. And so making a profit can be hard in games, and that has been a topic that's come up. Making money off video games has become very difficult. It's expensive to produce them. The talent you have to make good games expects to be paid. I get that. I'm not saying that's wrong. But I do believe there is some inflation built in for people that are more executive. And when it comes to Rockstar and Take-Two, I really do think this is a terrible company that will do whatever it takes to be as profitable as possible, and I think there should be a limit to what they're doing. But the only money made is off the purchase of the main game, and the game that it's the game that's low in comparison to what you can spend online. The price of that is so that means if you know that you can sell the game for $60, but you have an almost unlimited amount of money to make online, you're going to push that online hard. And that's why it is with GTA 5, all of the pseudo DLC we've seen is not for the story. It's exclusively for the online. And once the focus was to get people into playing GTA Online, the tactics used to get money out of people, from players, was ridiculous. And this is where it starts to get bad, So talking about GTA Online exclusively at this point, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. What was good about GTA Online? What is good about it? The city is well laid out. It looks beautiful. It's huge. It doesn't look as good as, say, the world in Red Dead. But again, this game came out well before Red Dead Online was produced and put out, or before Red Dead Redemption 2 was put out. Those are both one and the same, but I think there should be a difference because one's a story mode and the other's the open world. But either way, that game came out years after. So obviously the world's going to look a little bit less. It was developed at a different time. I get that. And I don't, maybe it's just too much to do, but I feel like they could have provided an update somehow to GTA Online. But I think they were trying to keep it compatible for so long, it just didn't happen. And maybe it was too expensive, that, and they probably just don't care. Traveling on the map on GTA 5 and online, it's fun. It feels like a real city. It's living and breathing. There's people. There's different people. We reached a point in console gaming where the NPC diversity, the characters roaming around, could be unique enough in a lot of instances. Is there repetition? Sure. It's a lot better than it used to be, say, in the Grand Theft Auto 3 days, where if you steal a car, that car starts popping up all over the place around you now. They fixed those kind of issues. They got the mix better. But that was waiting for better console technology, right? There was a limit to what you could do on the PS2, and there's a limit to what you could do on the Xbox 360, but I think they really pushed limits of Xbox 360 until it just got to a point where, hey, we can't do anymore here. We have to move it up another console. And I get that. They had invested so much money in the project that it wasn't worth putting another game out yet on the Xbox One. Just stick with what you've got. There's still that runtime that game demands to make it, profitable and make sure that they're getting their money's worth out of the product they've created. But that's about it. For me, those are the only two redeemable factors in the newer Grand Theft Auto. Is that the city looks beautiful. It looks like a living, breathing city. It doesn't really have any empty spots unless they're supposed to be. The highways feel natural. Traveling the highways feels like a good way to get around, even though we have planes and stuff now. I get that. And it always feels like there was something to explore on that map, to see something new, some place to go and get photos from, whatever. It felt good. But that's it. once you get into the bad of it, then it's like, well, there's no solo play. And you can't even pacifist to solo play in GTA Online. It doesn't work because you can't make any progress. As soon as you get in a vehicle with guns, like a helicopter that has rocket launcher or something, you leave pacifist mode. As soon as you commit a crime, you're out of pacifist mode. As soon as you do any missions, you're out of pacifist mode. Rob a liquor store, out of pacifist mode. Any of that. And there's really no way to make money playing solo to get anything done. The only way, and this became more difficult as things went on, was there was a method. I'm not going to call it a glitch because I don't think it's a glitch. It's not a mod and it's not a hack and it's not a cheat, but there was a method by which you could trick the game into thinking that everybody had disconnected from a lobby and you could essentially have your own private server session. Now, this was patched at one point and then it came back. I don't know if it's still there because it's been so long since I've played. But that was the only way to do it. The downside to that is that at that point you still had to have other people in there to play, because if you didn't have a team, you couldn't complete a lot of the missions. Some you could. There were some missions that I was able to do, but it didn't work out too well because you can quickly become overwhelmed with a lot of missions because the game is team-based. And I understand that. But in comparison to a game that came out after with the ability to make money on your own, that should have been something that was built into it. I can tell you right now, if I could have soloed a lot more, I would have played this game a lot more. But even with friends, it was still almost impossible to get a lot of stuff done. And again, while there's that pacifist mode, it just didn't work. You can walk around, you can pretty much walk around if you want to be safe-ish in there. Frank Poppy says, not too sure, but I think you can do invite-only lobbies and still do missions. Yeah, you can do that. The problem is, and maybe it changed. Like I said, I haven't looked into it. This is the experience I had and why I quit playing and stuff. But at the time, yeah, you could set up an invite-only lobby, but it wasn't always empty. So you'd end up dumped in with other people. And then if you tried to invite them in, they'd be on your team, but you could still get attacked until the other players left. So sometimes I would go to an invite only and I'd have to wait for the players to drop out. I'd hang out in my apartment until everybody left the server. So I would try to get on late night, closer to midnight Mountain Time, and then people would start dropping out of the server because it was North American players at that point. You could see, I forget where I could see it, but I could see it on there. And those players would drop out. And then as they did, it was an invite-only session, so nobody could come in. So that's changed, great. But again, that's kind of too little too late if that's the case. Because now I've lost so much time, and the game's probably going to be, the servers will be turned off before I can even do anything in there. So, but it's one of those things. You want to make money? Good luck. Good luck making money. The payout on missions is garbage. The payout to do something, some of those missions pay out $4,000, and the cost of items is so expensive that it gets to a point where you do a mission and you can buy a couple of shirts and a couple of outfits. And I know the thought process for a lot of people would be, yeah, just, go ahead and run a couple missions and buy a few targeted things. But the payouts are so low. And even for bigger missions, heists should have been paying out tons more. And they just didn't. And really, the only thing you can afford if you're going to casual play is clothing. Forget cars. You're not getting any cars. You're going to be grinding for a long time to get a vehicle. Missions pay a few $1,000s and cars cost millions. That's where you're at. Clothing is pricey as well. I mean, you're looking at clothing that I think some of the shirts were $500, $1,000, the higher end stuff that, you wanted to get. And no, you don't necessarily need everything, but the game is built to make it competitive for the crap you own. So looking at that, I had a question a while back, and this has been answered in numerous videos. This will be the first link we pop into chat. It is a YouTube link, just to let you guys know. And this will be going over into the YouTube video when I get this posted. But a while back, the question was posted, how much would it cost to get everything in GTA Online? Now, keep in mind, this video link that I'm going to send over, which I'm putting in now, is from 2020. So 2 years ago, somebody had looked into this. And so this number is going to seem both arbitrary, maybe small to a degree, and then expensive at the same time. But this video maps everything out, and they do a rough estimate and explain, you're looking at spending $8,712 in 2020 to buy everything in the catalog in the game. Now, would I want to buy everything in the game? No, absolutely not. That's not the target. But we want to look at that number to understand that that's a huge chunk of cash for a lot of people. Now, the game's been out for a while. So, sure, you could probably make that happen. If you knew you had 6 years to come up with $8,000, you could probably figure it out. And that's the problem, because some people have bought everything in the game. There are people that aren't even classified necessarily as whales that were able to eventually buy everything with money. Now, I did some quick math here, and this comes from a comment in the article too, because I verified what they had at the time. This is back in 2020. If you this is what the article was quoted as saying. I'm going to read you the excerpt from there. If you use shark cards to acquire this money, the Megalodon shark card is the best value at $99 USD for 8 million GTA cash. This means you would need to purchase 88 Megalodon shark cards to have enough GTA money to purchase all the game's items. At $99 USD for each Megalodon shark card, that's $8,712 USD investment into the game. And for me, that's why I see it as a cash grab. The point was to get you to buy the $60 game. You're naturally going to want to compete with your friends. Yeah, only $8 mil for a $100 shark card. That's it, and that's bad. You know, if you played the game, you know that $8 million in game goes fast. And this is in 2020. That number's probably more than doubled now, because 2020 I don't think the submarine was out. Maybe it was. I can't remember if it's in that article or not. But I looked at that when I first started this last week, because I've been working on these scripts for a bit. But it's not much money. The sub cost $2.2 million. And I'll go over that in a minute too, why that's so ridiculous. But you're looking at $100 to get $8 million in game. To grind $8 million in game, I don't even have a calculator for that. You would have to run Perico, the island heist. You would have to run that 8 times solo. So 8 hours would maybe get you that money. If you don't get bored. Even if you ran it once per night, the game's economy moves too fast. The items come in too fast for you to catch up to get the things you even want. And keep in mind, you can't get that $2.2 million. So I'll go over that in a minute, because that loops another point. But playing with a team does not feel rewarding in the GTA Online experience. And that's the same, of course, in Red Dead Online. It just doesn't feel rewarding. The payouts are more even in GTA Online. They're more even, but the payouts are lower. And if I'm going to do a mission with friends and I'm going to get $40,000 off a mission that would pay me $250,000 solo, why am I going to play with friends? Even if you have your own lobby via setting up the private lobby, the missions still aren't rewarding enough. You can still run around and do stuff, yes, but I've played with friends, and it seems like a lot of work to earn a very little cash. I mean, I've spent hours and hours with friends running missions to make a few $1 million, just a few million. So, kind of getting out of the scope of that real quick was the PC side. Playing on PC, good luck there as well. PC side was full of people who cheat. Rockstar does very little to address this. Now, I want to clarify that they do address some cheating. The cheating that they verified was when people were using cross-play accounts to boost theirs. So basically, they would use a PC account, they would cheat money in, and then run over to their console side and give friends money and stuff. They took care of that, for the most part. There's still glitches out there, so people still do it, but they cracked down on that because they're losing money. You're hurting their wallet at that point, because you're not buying Megalodon cards, or shark cards, you're not buying shark cards, and you're not playing the game at that point. You're just glitching money in. And so, that's where it creates problems for them, and they take care of it. Other than that, they don't do anything about the cheating. People that can shoot around corners, these are not new issues. In addition, if you don't believe me, if you want to go see how rampant the cheating is, go to YouTube and watch the videos on how people make tons of money quickly. They're still there. Watch the videos of people that show what they call mods. They're mods. They're not actually mods. They're cheats. Or see how people get high kill counts and see how they're shooting on walls, shooting through walls, shooting across the map. They don't even hide it. Facebook Gaming, which I'm not a fan of their section of things for live streams and everything else. Sometimes those are pre-recorded videos, but it still doesn't change the fact it's people cheating at the game. Go check those out and see how many people cheat at the game. And they don't, it used to be with Grand Theft Auto 4, the online experience, and Red Dead Redemption Online, the original, they were moving people to a cheat lobby. Essentially, if you were caught cheating, you got moved to a lobby with other cheaters, and that's where you'd stay. You would never see the main open world again. You'd never play with normal players. They shifted out. I think that was a pretty good solution. Your players still get to play the game, but they're stuck on their own. But when you add the economy like GTA Online, I think that becomes more difficult to do because they still get the benefits of the cheats. But yeah, there's lots of videos out there where people cheat. They're blatant about it because Rockstar has done such a horrible job of curtailing the cheating. There is cheating on consoles. I've seen that, but I think that's more because of the cross-play aspect that's available in some of those instances. A PC player can come in and just clean house. So, and Frank Poppy says there's that one Doomsday Heist exploit that they tried to fix but didn't work out. Yeah, and it's because those issues like that, they just don't know how to fix it and it's stuck, or it's just so interwoven in because they didn't think about that. You know, it's and I understand mistakes happen. I could maybe forgive that if it wasn't for all the other stuff they let go. You know, even if the cheating wasn't an issue, let's say that the cheating didn't affect you as gameplay. Let's say even if somebody was shooting through walls, they couldn't kill you, whatever. You need at least a good car or aircraft for activities. A lot of the activities that paid out decently were competition activities. You need a pretty fast car for some of those. You needed a good aircraft for those. Now, some of the missions you can race, you don't have to provide your own vehicle, and I enjoyed a few of those, especially on double GTA Cash and double XP weekends, the RXP weekends. You know, I enjoyed a couple of those and had fun with it. People still cheat in those, but I feel the playing field was a little bit more even because it was harder to cheat into missions where the cars were pre-selected. Harder, not impossible, harder. But, you know, it's hard. How do you justify playing an online game where you need the fastest car to win competitions or not even competitions. Let's just say you're trying to do missions on the main map. Let's say the pay was better and you're trying to grind out money, but you can't afford to buy one of the cars, but somebody else has just shark carded their way to getting the most expensive vehicle with the best armor, best engine, everything, or they have that great attack helicopter and it's armored up. You're done. You can't compete with that. And that's the thing. That's where online became really, really ugly, was in all modes. It became a race to pay the most to get to the top. And you don't even have to buy everything. And, you know, I understand there's detractors that will say, and this is the part of the player base that I really dislike. Well, if you don't like it, why don't you just go get a shark card, go get the shark cards, and buy the same thing? Because it's a never-ending struggle. And that mentality is what's going to keep games like this really bad. Because I'll never be able to stop paying for shark cards. Because as we've seen numerous times in GTA Online, as soon as that's the best chopper available, they release a new one. As soon as this is the fastest car, a new one comes out. It's easy for Rockstar to do because they already have stuff pre-done. They can just make a new car, throw a new paint job on it, call it a different name, and up the stats. It's not hard for them to do. And once they notice that everybody has the same fastest car, which this has happened numerous times, the DeLorean's a good example. Once everybody started buying the DeLorean, there was a new, better car. There was the motorcycle that could fly, the crotch rocket thing, literally a rocket. As soon as people bought that, there was something else. There were all these different vehicles, and that's why there's so much content in those areas, because of the fact it's easy for them to jump in, throw in, and it's just, hey, go buy it. Yeah, Oppressor, MK2, you got it. So, you know, that's hard to compete with. Not to mention all the other stuff they added in. And again, I'll get to that further down because there's a math portion to that. But let's talk about the player base. Now, from this, I want to acknowledge that there were, and probably still are, some people playing this online with friends. Maybe they're still getting the private lobbies and enjoying it for what it is. For those people, great. But for me, it became something I couldn't do anymore. And it only got worse as we went on. But let's talk about the player base. So you have certain types of people that play Rockstar games. With Red Dead Online, you have people that play the game for fun, and you have griefers. That's mainly the two you're going to come across in Red Dead Online. I didn't encounter many whales. I haven't seen too many whales online that are buying everything up, just trying to be impressive. Because again, that game mechanic wasn't there and impressive. They didn't have wagons with neat effects. The horses could only have so many things on them. It just wasn't as impressive to be the guy that had all the horses that you could possibly buy in Red Dead Online. It just wasn't. It wasn't as impressive for a lot of people as being the guy that could buy all the cars. Grand Theft Auto Online, GTA Online, was much worse. There were grifters, cheaters, whales, and idiots that got in the game. That's it. There were also simps for the game too, and they're more of the problem when you're not online and when you're not in the game and you're trying to find solutions to problems online. Is those people that simp for the game, and that's where it tends to get difficult. The online was a mess because of this. Um, you know, as I've said before, you can either get into your own private lobby or try to play with friends, but it's not lucrative enough to make money in there. It's just not, Even the people that are coming to attack you to get your money, for them, it's an easy just kill the person carrying whatever briefcase, whoever's delivering whatever car, they get quick money. For you, you may have had time setting up a mission. This is where heist became difficult. You may have had time in setting stuff up that is now ruined because somebody else just wanted to make a quick buck in there and could. That's not very balanced at all. And all the while you've just lost everything, that person makes a good amount of progress and you're just done. And they'll keep on you. They'll follow you around the map. They'll stay on you. If you decide to complain about these issues or bring up in discussion, you get two types of people: to get good, which I hate that. I hate get good. Get good is a crappy argument by people who usually, in the case I've seen that people say get good, are the people cheating, is what that is, or it's the people doing glitching or whatever. They're the get good crowd. They're not good. They're doing it the way that they are allowed to do it until they get caught. I've seen a number of get good people who end up getting popped for cheating in an online experience. Oh, we're gonna go through a lot of water tonight. I don't think it's quite a gallon. It's more than 32 ounces in here. I don't know what we got. It's a lot though. It doesn't say on the bottom either. Yeah, I get dry doing these. There's a lot of talking. I haven't done public speaking in any length of time, so I didn't know what it was like before doing these. What it was like to talk for an hour or 2 hours or 3. But then you get the get good crowd, or you get the simps that tell you that, no, it gets better, and they really try to convince you that Rockstar's good, the game's good, maybe you need to take a break, or you just need to play harder. Not get good, you just need to play harder. And I just don't, the people that are doing it, honestly, I've seen what that looks like. These are people that play nothing but GTA Online. They play this game, that's it, and it can be 8 hours a day for some of these people. Now, I might not feel as bad if I could do that, but I can't. And even if I was pro streaming this game 8 hours a day, I'd be burned out so fast because it's not like there's a lot of variety in what you're doing online. You can have some good moments, but you get burned out. And the people that simp for the game make it worse because even as Rockstar does some pretty awful things to their player base, and we'll get to those coming up, even as they've done some awful things to their player base, the people that simp for GTA Online, they take it and have some reason, when it comes to everything. And I'll try to loop that back in so I can kind of put some context to that for you guys. So it's the hard part about staying to a script is I'm not an expert at this yet. I'm getting better. This one's definitely got better flow, but there's so many things that I want to talk about on these, but at the same time I have to try to keep it limited and loop through. So and the last worst section of the player base is the whale or the tryhard. The person that did buy everything or got everything, and the person that tries exceptionally hard to do all of that. They've constantly got the best car and they want to show it off to you, and playing with them can be difficult sometimes because if they already have the best vehicle, you kind of ask yourself, why am I playing? Why am I even bothering? I'm not going to be able to get that, so why even bother? They can't help me get that. They can't grind hard enough. They can't give me money to do that. So what do? They buy up everything they can and they brag about it like it's something special. And, I get it to a degree. Those are also the same people, though, that can't wait for Grand Theft Auto 6 to come out. Even before the announcement of the game came out, there were people waiting for GTA 6 to come out. I just don't understand how you can be celebrating a new game coming up that's going to have a similar gameplay mechanic. I guarantee you it's going to have a similar gameplay mechanic. If you think that somehow GTA 6 is going to be better and not have the same gameplay mechanic, you're kind of out of your mind, because there's going to be a whole new catalog of goods, cars, and everything else. And the sad thing about that is I don't think these people realize, I've seen a minority of people online, a very small group, thinking you're going to be able to carry your assets over from GTA 4 or GTA 5 online. You're not. You are not going to be able to carry your stuff over. It is a different game. If they do, I would be surprised. If they announce I can have everything I got in GTA Online and bring it over, that would definitely really incentivize me to even pay for a newer copy, knowing I get to carry my stuff over. But that's not going to happen because there's no money in that. There's just not for them. Not enough. And for the people that, buy tons of stuff and they brag about it, to a large degree, I get it. It is easier to spend $40 in a game to get a nice looking car and show it off online than it is actually try to get that car in real life. A lot of people are not at a position where they can go drop $2 million on a real car, or $100,000, $200,000 on a car. They don't have that. So this is what's close to that. This is a digital way for people to live that lifestyle and show it off, and it's fun, right? It's almost like people that LARP to a degree, except this is in-game. But the game doesn't support that too well because it's very limited. If we had something closer to Ready Player One, then it would be worth it. But Ready Player One has a persistent lifespan in that, right? Like a good example would be if Grand Theft Auto Online never saw another release and got minor updates and kept the visual style and was kept in the same space as like World of Warcraft, then it might be worth it to grind so hard on this, but it's not, because you're going to lose your stuff each new release they put out. And while I think that we're going to see some changes in release times, and again, that's a little bit later on in things here, that still affects things. Is there a need for an open world game, something like Ready Player One? I think there is. Do we have the technology for it? No, we don't. We don't have that yet. I don't think we have any of the basic things we need. We don't have the server capacity. We don't have the rigs you need for that. That's a world that I'm probably not going to see in my lifetime. God, I wish I could. And if I do, I'm not going to be in the physical condition to enjoy it. But we're not there yet. VR is still in its infancy. And a lot of things I'm seeing VR do, it's clunky. I've tried some VR stuff. It's hilarious and it's clunky. It's hilarious because it is clunky. That's the problem. And so, that's where it gets difficult, trying to justify spending so much time grinding goods and putting over. Now, keep in mind, I understand there's a lot of people who say, but yeah, every game is like that. You grind for stuff that the game may be discontinued, you'll never have again. Yes and no. On that, yes and no. There are some games where you'll indefinitely have those in your save game, and you can go back to them at any point. I have a lot of older games where I can go back to them. Now, World of Warcraft, whether people want to admit it or not, is going to end one day, and that's a sad day, and I will mourn that day because I love World of Warcraft. I have actually lost accounts before. I quit playing for a while because I got done. I just did everything I could and was done, and I was unable to recover that account. That was a sad day for me, so I will feel that sense of loss when the game ends, but right now it's okay. Are there some signs that, WoW is having issues? Sure, and that's probably a different topic for another time. That one, that's such a large topic, though. But, you can't bring your stuff over, so why get so excited about a new game when you're going to have to plunk down more money, And I guess that's that, if it looks better and I can show off more, then maybe that's what they want to do. But the general online presence for Grand Theft Auto Online, the players, are fairly toxic. I have been in random lobbies a few times, and I've seen adults being verbally abusive to minors. That should not be something that's allowed, but Rockstar doesn't care who's playing their games. Yeah, dangerously toxic, yeah. I have seen, I've seen adults, or heard adults, I can tell it's an adult voice, being racist towards a young, what sounded like underage minority child. That should not be allowed. And if they're not going to monitor their in-game chat to a better degree, that's dangerous. like I said, Rockstar doesn't care who's playing their games. As long as that person can get in there and make them money, they just don't care. Um, and again, to reinforce how toxic the online community can be, the GTA community, when GTA 6 was announced, and they said there was going to be a female protagonist, and I've got a link for you on that. Oop, hold on, things go weird here. In when it was announced that the protagonist was going to be female, and I'll pop this in here. Immediately there was a ton of hate that the game was too woke. The game was too woke. They're ruining everything. We can't have jokes anymore and stuff. And look, Grand Theft Auto has never been a clean game. The series is never going to be clean, and there have been a lot of dated moments in these games for sure. But unfortunately, instead of people paying attention to the stories these games were telling, it's a place where people went to just escape and be awful people. That's just what there is. We see this in a number of games. I've seen it, I think it's DayZ, we saw people that were rounding up people of different color. The racism in online worlds is not there. People seem to forget that online footage can be captured. Your conversations are recorded, and if the company's reputable enough, or if people are diligent enough, they can copy that and put it out there to show. But the double-sided is like in the article I posted, at first they were like, oh God, a woman is a protagonist. This is going to be awful. It's going to suck. And it was too woke, and it's awful. It's terrible. But then they showed the picture of the lead character. I think it's Lucia. And as soon as they showed the picture of her and she was more appealing to the male audience, suddenly the tone changed. You could see it in Twitter. You could see it in videos. That it was suddenly, this is going to be great. I can't wait. And it went from, I don't want a woke character to I can't wait to see her naked, or I can't wait to see if I can get her naked, or, I mean, this is ridiculous. But this is what we're dealing with, and this bleeds over into so many other problems. Those people right there are the same kind of people that, we see doing things inappropriately. Not all of them, but some of the same people. And I think that the middle ground that GTA Online came up with was the strip clubs. They had strippers. You could go see the strippers, but what you could do was limited, and that was good. That was where it should have been. Is the game catering to a certain audience? Yes, but at the same time, we don't have to make it slant so badly that it's becoming so misogynistic and everything else that it's bad. It doesn't make it woke. It's just there should be a story to tell here, not just everything else that's sex and that's it. It's they limit the scope badly. So here's where it gets worse, and here's the worst of GTA Online. So at this point, I think we can all agree that GTA 5/Online, more so GTA Online, is essentially at the end of its life. This game is in its final years. I'm gonna make a prediction that, say 2024 at some point, we're gonna get an announcement for the release date. Now I'm gonna do a quick search here, just to make sure that I haven't missed something. But so this holds. I just looked this up. Now, before I read this, what I was going to say was I would expect 2024 is when we're going to hear an announcement about GTA 6 coming out. We're probably going to see a teaser, and we're probably going to be given a couple of hints of features. Whether we're going to see, we'll see a story of some sort spelled out. They're not just going to be like GTA Online. It's going to be there. Now, what I just read here from B-Boom, and I'll post the link in there for B-Boom. Because that's where it comes up. Actually, let's go to Games Radar and see if it's in there. Because I like Games Radar is more reputable in my opinion. Yeah, they don't have anything here, so I won't post the link for the other article because it's not verified. I don't know B-Boom as an outlet, and I can't vouch for them or personally say and present to you as viewers that I know them, as an outlet, and I've read them. Games Radar, while they've had some misses for the most part, I can look at them and say, yeah, that seems legit. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this games. I will throw this in there because further down, it's pretty far down the article. It's little less than halfway, but this is a lengthy article. But where did I put it in here? There we go. We'll throw this in here, and I will get you guys a thing. It's the GTA 6 guide via Games Radar about what we know so far. So they put a date close to what I was thinking. I was thinking 2024. I'm thinking we're going to get some sort of announcement in 2024. That link's coming over now, guys. And 2024. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, they'll be down below the description. This is probably going to have a more lengthy description, so that'll be pretty verbose. But I think 2024, we're going to get a trailer of some sort in early 2024. I think mid to late 2024, we're going to get a trailer for the story and maybe a character introduction. I think that they're going to delay this for a bit to get a good release out of it is what they're going to do, and really amp it up. And I think they already have a lot in for what they're doing. I think at this point they're still in the beginnings of building this. I don't buy that they've already got the game 80% complete, 50% complete, and that, you know, they're ready to just push the rest out and get it out. I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to see anything about GTA 6 besides rumors and possibly more leaks this next year. 2023 is going to be a fairly dormant news cycle for GTA 6. That's my prediction at this point. 2023 will be a very dormant year, if I didn't say that right. 2024 will start to get more lively. I think that in addition to there being official stuff out, that's where we're going to see the usual meat grinder, if you will, of here's what we saw in the trailer, here's what you should expect, here's what this means. So there's going to be a lot of speculation, and that's going to amp a lot of people up. You know, there's a lot of added features are going to be talked about and stuff, but I think that's when we're going to start seeing that churn in game news, because that's what keeps a lot of these gaming outlets news-wise going, right? That's where they get their ad revenues, by producing articles that make people salivatate at the possibility of there being item A, B, or C, or A through Z, or whatever. You know, that's just what there is. And we love reading those articles, don't we? I love reading the speculation about it. It's neat to dream and imagine, but I tend to be a little more grounded when I think about what things are going to be in that game. So, but let's get back to Grand Theft Auto 5 or GTA Online here, because it is at the end of its life. Now, sometimes you can see nails in the coffin for things. And at this point, we're going to talk about GTA Plus, because that's kind of where one of the nails in the coffin was. So I'm going to pull up a different screen here on my side so I can read some stuff to you guys. But GTA Plus for me was a nail in the coffin of the online, because if they started implementing this late in the game, and how it was introduced just tells me they're getting desperate for money at this point at where they're at. They may have seen revenue start to dip, right? Because people are only going to spend for so long before revenue dips. Even if you have to start getting newer cars to compete, you're going to get fatigue from people. They're going to get tired of it. They're going to get bored. If you don't know, GTA Plus is a paid monthly option that gave you some features. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a link in so you guys can see it. And then I got to pop back over to a different window. Oh, I can do it here. Yay. It costs $6 per month for Plus. Okay? And it's one of those things that's not worth it. And I'll explain why. Because there's a very important context into why it's just not worth it. Good. Okay, made it over. For a minute there, it looked like it aired out. All right, so with GTA Plus, you get what they call exclusive member benefits, okay? This is available both for PlayStation and for Xbox. And there was a PC one too, I believe, but I don't see it in here. I think you have to buy it elsewhere. But anyway, through the official page, which is the link I sent over, there's the subscribe button at the top. As you scroll down the page, what you'll see is the GTA Plus member benefits. Free CEO VIP benefits, okay? This is what you get for getting GTA Plus as a member only. Being a CEO or VIP in GTA Online comes with a bevy of privileges, accessible via the interaction menu. These include use of abilities like bribe authorities. Couldn't I make a phone call for that? To get the heat off your back, and ghost organization, temporarily remove your entire organization from the radar. Okay, So the first one there doesn't seem that special, but that second option, the Ghost Organization, temporarily remove your entire organization from the radar, is pay to win. There is no, that's an advantage. If you can remove yourself from the radar to avoid being tracked down by other players, you have now implemented pay to win, which is not right at all. Let's move on to the next feature here, which is free vehicle requests. Free vehicle requests. Fees will be waived on vehicle requests from the interaction menu. But wait a minute. I can call my mechanic to get my cars. Why was this something I'd have to pay for? And from anywhere else, I don't remember the fees where I had to pay for car requests being that expensive. So this seems like a useless crap feature that's just thrown in to bloat the GTA Plus. That's feature number 2. Yeah, and ghost happens in literally any fight. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I've experienced that as well because when I am beating someone online, they just miraculously disappear. The third portion, the third benefit here, the main benefit is on their site. They have 4 blocks. These are the 4 things they put out. 500,000 GTA cash. 500,000 every month delivered upon billing and deposited into your Maze bank account. All right, let's take a look at something. So that's a $10 value per month, and you're only paying $6. So wow, you're getting the Bull Shark cash card. I'm looking at the other page here, and I'll post those cards in later on. There's a link to what the cash cards cost, but $9.99 for a Bull Shark cash card. Okay, great. So far, that's the only thing kind of worth it, because every month I'll get 500,000 GTA cash. What am I supposed to use that for? Anybody that's played GTA Online, 500,000 GTA cash doesn't buy you much of anything. All right, let's move on to the last section here. Member-only shark cards. Here's where the meat of it is. This is not a benefit, in my opinion. This is just something else they threw in. That's ridiculous. Member-only shark cards. GTA Plus members can also take advantage of special GTA Plus shark cards in all denominations, from the Red Shark all the way up to the Megalodon, with 15% bonus GTA cash. A 15% boost so I can buy more shark cards, because that's where the money in this game is the shark cards. It's not worth it. Those features are not worth $6 a month. They're just not. I don't want to be on a subscription to buy the middle, say about the middle, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 shark card options. I don't want to be on a subscription to buy a $10 shark card at a discount rate. That's ridiculous. You know, give me the $10 shark card with a 15% bonus. Don't give me the $10 shark card for cheaper. You know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You know, I guess I should be glad they didn't just make it a tiger shark card, but even they know the 200,000 is even more useless. You know, it's just a really lackluster lineup. So okay, we'll go down. What do you get? You get vehicle benefits. That's right. I think you get a new vehicle every month. In this case, you get the Benefactor Terabyte. Install Terra with this uniquely nightmarish armored truck that also offers special add-ons including turret station, drone station, weapons workshop, and the only vehicle workshop capable of customizing the fear-inducing Pegasi Oppressor MK2. Great. More pay to win. Utilize the Terabyte's touchscreen terminal to launch client jobs and upgrade weapons into MK2 modules via the weapons workshop. Great. More pay to win. That's it. That's a pay to win feature. It gets worse. Property benefits. Nightclub upgrades. Take your nightclub's eerie aesthetic to the next level by adding a flight rig. Then beef up your bottom line by adding extra floors of cargo storage to your club. So, pay to win again, because you're limited in normal play with how much storage you have for cargo. And yeah, you can get a little bit more, but I'm sure this extends past that. But, you know, pay to win again. Free Halloween gear. So it looks like there's exclusive gear. Get fully into the spirit of the season and play GTA Online anytime during this event period to receive the mummy outfit, pumpkin hoodie, the gray cracked puppet mask, and the grimy stitched mask. Now, this is for October. This is GTA Plus's benefits for October on these I'm talking about. So this is relevant to the time this video will be out and you're watching for October. This month's additional benefits. 2x GTA and RP on Terabyte client jobs. So these, I think these are exclusive to GTA Plus. So again, more pay to win. Business battles. 2x supplies on business battles. More pay to win. 3 times the nightclub warehouse production speed, more pay to win. 35% off all MK2 weapon upgrades via the terabyte. Again, more pay to win because these benefits will greatly help you. And yes, I know it's only $6 a month, but the pay to win factor is ridiculous on these. It is just atrocious that that's there for that. Those are not impressive to me because even with that, the grind is still going to be rough for the cash because 3 times the amount is better, but it ain't great. Also, something they don't talk about in there, and this is something that is not capitalized on, with GTA Plus, there are certain cars you can get that you can't use if you don't have GTA Plus. So, in essence, drop the sub and you can't use it anymore. Here's another one for you. Certain upgrades to vehicles are locked behind the GTA Plus paywall. So that means that, let's say you do get finally a really nice car that they released to general public, engine upgrade 3 for that particular car, you can't get unless you have GTA Plus. If you abandon the subscription, you don't get to keep that upgrade anymore. So now it's pay to win on upgrades for cars. So now to have the fastest vehicles, potentially, you have to have GTA Plus. Now, all of this has been talked about when this was first introduced, but I'm just reiterating it here in case people have forgot. And it's also important coming up as well. Now, to clarify, if this was only for cosmetic stuff, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care at all because cosmetics do not win the game. Cosmetics do not help in progression. Cosmetics do not help you further yourself in the game. Cosmetics are strictly cosmetic, and they're great for that alone. But again, this feels like a last-minute cash grab. Them packing in another feature that you have to pay for. You know, you're gonna get that shark card. You're probably gonna end up buying other cards when you realize how useless it is. It's not that much of a boost. And yeah, we could talk about potentials of, well, if you play the game regularly and you couple that with the money you're gonna get from missions off of this, it doesn't. That's a horrible sales point. That works, in my opinion, that works on people that aren't looking at the math close enough to realize how you're getting screwed on how the payout is. Now, this is not new. Subscriptions on free-to-play games is not new, and I'm not against them. I'm definitely not against them. I pay for Fallout first. I was not entirely against that at the beginning. When I had talked about it initially, just here and there in streams, because I wasn't doing this type of format, my thought process was it depends on what it is, what it gives you, and what it does. If it offers an unfair advantage, I'm totally against it. Now, Fallout 76 gives you scrap kits, repair kits, stuff like that, but that's not that unfair of advantage because just having a scrap kit and a repair kit doesn't tilt battle too much. Also, Fallout 76 is not PvP heavy in how they want you to play. So you're not getting an unfair advantage with those two, the scrap kit and the repair kit. You're not getting an unfair advantage. Additionally, let's look at the fact that you only get skins when you pay for stuff for weapons. You cannot, as of current, in Fallout 76, buy weapons to give you an advantage over other players. Even your base building materials do not give you an advantage over other players. In my experience in Fallout 76, getting one of the tents, the survival tents, well, any of them, but in particular one that has the workbench in it, has only benefited other players. It hasn't hurt anybody. It's been a benefit to the community. That is not the case with GTA Online. And Elder Scrolls Online, same. I know I'm mentioning Bethesda titles here, but again, those season passes haven't hurt anything. They've made the game more playable. They keep it interesting. Why GTA Online did not get a season pass, I don't know. There should have been something for that. Maybe it was that the way the missions are set up and how easy it is to get kicked, removed, or not able to complete them would ruin and negate the ability to run a season pass. I think it would have been a better model, and they should have thought about that. But again, GTA Online came out at a time before season passes were a big thing. So, you know, and again, how it's implemented matters. In this case, even if it was a season pass, it probably would have been implemented well, and GTA Plus was implemented awful, really awful. You know, that's just where it is. That model works. For me, the season pass model works and it's fun. If I don't like it, I can stop paying for it and I don't have to do it anymore. I can directly support the game via the season pass, unless there's something special I want. So let's talk about moving on with other content in there. You know, the worst, the pseudo DLC, the casino, the club, all that stuff. They were nice, but they did very little to improve earnability in the game. They only added more items to the cash catalog, to the in-game shops. That, you know, that's all it did. Because with each of these, the casino, because that that added heist options, right? You needed special vehicles to complete stuff. The casino in particular had the penthouse to make you grind for more money and get into eventually. I still don't have a penthouse. I never had enough money to get one. The clubs, you needed vehicles and other stuff. You needed upgrades for the club. Those all cost in-game money. In translation, cost real-world money that you're going to need. They were nice, but again, all they did was fatten the game up with more catalog content to get people to buy. The casino concerns me because, in my opinion, because there was gambling in there, not real gambling. Yes and no. That's a touchy subject, right? Because the casino had gambling for chips, you were in a non-direct way using GTA Cash to gamble, with the idea that you might be able to win big. But let's be honest here, if you don't think the odds are stacked against you in such a way that makes Vegas casinos look generous, you're delusional. But, I'm worried about that because to me that felt like a testing ground for something bigger later on in another game. The gambling element was worrisome because if anybody's going to figure out how to get legal gambling into a video game that's going to make you spend money, Rockstar will. They will figure out a way to make it work, and they will make money off of that. Let's be honest here. In the short of it, if you buy a shark card and use that money to gamble at the casino in hopes that you can turn your $10 shark card purchase into the equivalent of a $100 shark card, it's not happening. Because there's no requirement for Rockstar to list the odds on their games. Now, they do in GTA Online. I want to be clear about that. They list the odds on the slot machines and the tables. But you're not going to get that $100 mark. You're not even going to get that lucky. The ratio of win to loss will be so bad. And sure, you can trust the numbers they'll put up, but again, they're not legally required to put that out there. So you'll have no way of actually knowing. It will take players either data mining files, or it will take players spending a lot of money to figure it out. We've seen that in other games where people spend their money to figure out what the odds are and stuff. But sure, the DLC is free, right? The stuff they're adding is free. The casino item was free. Some of the content was, but getting a penthouse was not. Let's look specifically at the Cayo Perico heist, okay? Now, that was added in to make you some more money. Okay, you can make, if you solo it, you can make $1 million off the heist if you get everything correctly. If you get all the gold, whatever the item is. If you get the special item and you get as much gold as you can carry, I think gold was the most expensive thing. I forget now. I did it a few times with friends, but you can get $1 million doing it solo. If you do it with friends, you're getting the split. However, the leader of that mission splits it out. So you have to hope you're in a group that's honest. And when people did randos on that heist, there's plenty of videos that show that they got a 10% cut. That's crap. But, it is what it is, right? But let's address why the heist is not free. That add-on is not free because before you can even run the heist, you have to buy a submarine. And this is where I said we'll get into the specifics of the money a little bit later. So I'm going to link in the cash card store. Now, this is the PC one, but the prices trail across everything else. So you're looking at the same no matter where you're at, okay? So let's go ahead and throw that in. All right, so let's say you want to get in that part where you start making money off of the island heist. And the prerequisite is you have to have a submarine. Now, I checked the cost of the base sub. The base sub costs $2.2 million. Now, the heist is free. It is free to run the heist. There's some setup involved, but it's free to do. And you can generally get the setup done without too much player interference, so it's not too bad to do. Just takes some time. It takes a few hours. But anyway, so it costs $2.2 million in-game GTA cash in the in-game currency to buy a submarine. Depending on how you buy your shark cards, and this is why I posted the shark card amounts in there, depending on how you do it, it's going to cost you $35 to $50 in real-world money to buy a submarine. And the reason I say you're going to have to spend that is because most people are not going to grind out to get it. And so if we look at the shark cards, you'd have to buy, at a minimum, you're going to have to buy a $20 shark card, which is 1.25 mil. If you buy two of those, it's 40. If you buy one of those and you buy a couple of the other cards, the lesser ones, the 500,000, however you chain it together, you're still spending a significant amount of money. And just for the sake of shortness, I said 35 to 50 in real world dollars. That's the cost of a DLC. The DLC is not free. Yeah, I know some people prioritize the cash on hand and they got it. Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Frank Poppy, is that you really had to work for it. You've got to kill yourself on a grind to get that money together. I think I eventually got one. It took me months to get it because I just could not stay the course. It was not enjoyable. It was not pleasant to grind for that. So yeah, so if you're not going to grind it, and a lot of people did not want to wait. They wanted that content now. They wanted it right away. So they're going to drop $35 to $50. Now, not everybody is going to do the math to find the most cost-effective way to do that. They're going to buy it as quick as they can, which means a lot of people probably bought 2 of the shark cards, which I just lost the display on my side here. They bought 2 of the $20 shark cards. They paid $40 for that. They straight up paid $40 to get that sub. And that's not even with the upgrades to the sub. Now, granted, I can negate that saying, okay, well, the heist pays out enough money, you'll get enough money to buy the upgrades. Those are expensive, but sure, whatever. Let's say it's just that. But that's the thing, is there's a lot of items that you need for these pseudo DLCs. And I say pseudo because they're not DLCs, but they are. They didn't hit the free side of the game. You didn't get that. But you still have to pay money at some point if you want to be in there. If you have friends that are on top of everything, this gets worse. If you're not playing regular friends and you have maybe one friend that plays all the time, you're going to have to piggyback off their account to enjoy the benefits of that. But if they're not online, you can't do these things anymore until you get the required amount of money. And it can take a while. It can take you a while. So that add-on's not free. The casino stuff, not free. Yeah, you get access to the content, but you can't enjoy it because it's not free. And here's the thing, is that the heist, the KO, I keep saying it, I think the KO Perko heist is the most efficient way to make money. Was anyway the last time I played. It was the most efficient way because you could do it solo. It is possible to solo that. There's plenty of guides. It's possible to solo it, I think, in an hour. Some people have got it down to 35 minutes. It's possible to solo it and then get $1 million, but you're limited to how quickly you can get the setup done. So even if you could complete the mission in 35 minutes, the setup may take you an hour. So in an hour and 35 minutes, you're making $1 million. Great, but that's your end game then. That is your end game. That's what you're doing. It's the most profitable activity in the game. So that's what you'll be doing until you've got everything bought that you need. That's what you'll be doing indefinitely. There's no fun in that anymore. It's boring at that point. There's plenty of games that are stuck on the same repeat loop and they're boring in the online portion. There's just not enough fresh content. If I could make money better in more ways and they paid better, that would be better. Why do I have to go to the island to get the gold? Isn't there someplace I could rob in town? Isn't there something else? But that's not going to happen. And with that, because it's the most profitable way, they've kind of developed themselves in a corner, haven't they? Because the only way for Rockstar to make more money, in this case to make you feel pressured to buy $35 to $50 right away in a lump sum to give them a good month, a good season, or a good quarter, is they would have to produce another add-on, another island or whatever, have to have a vehicle that costs the same amount or double, and they would have to make the payout for that a lot higher. And I don't think we're going to see that. There's not going to be some, all right, you're going to get this airplane to fly cocaine back and forth, and it's going to be $4 million, and you can split it 4 ways. It's not going to happen. 1, because this game's at end of life, but 2, because that's going to be kind of diminishing returns for them, because once the payouts become good enough, you're going to get to that median where people are going to be like, I'm not paying any more money in this game. I'm just going to grind this mission over and over again, and that's it. So that's where the cash grab is in the shark cards and how difficult they make it to make money. It is exceptionally difficult to make money. If you say that online in places, you get people that say that you need to get good at the game. You're just not trying hard enough. And that's not the answer. It's, again, as I've said in other videos, just because 2 people out of 100 can do something doesn't mean the other 98 people are losers and aren't trying hard enough. It just means those 2 people are able to do that, and that's great, but it should be more accessible to the other 98 people. That will quickly kill a game's online community, too. If people don't have the money to play, they're not going to play. It's just won't, it's going to get worse. So let's jump over And we're about half, well, we're more than halfway through, guys. We're almost done here. What time are we at here? Hour 30. Yeah, I'm trying to get these down. This was a much longer topic than I thought it was going to be. So let's talk about the remakes and how that fits into this. Let's talk about that. So Rockstar as a company, let's say Rockstar slash Take Two or Take Two slash Rockstar. In my opinion of it, this was a bad mark on Rockstar. You know, even though Take Two's in there as parent company, Rockstar took the brunt of this, so to speak, and they put it on someone else as well. But Rockstar shows how awful they are with decisions they make, and that's the remakes. Getting dry. I don't know how people do comedy shows. Rockstar knew people were excited for the remakes, for the definitive editions. They knew it. They didn't even have to ask the public. As soon as they even thought about it, they knew it was going to be a selling point. They know that people were still buying copies of their games through Steam and on digital marketplaces. They knew that. There was no question in anybody's mind that if they said they were remastering these, that the sales were pretty much making themselves. There wasn't much advertising needed. So people were excited for that. This should have been an easy project. On the one hand, this should have been a complete rebuild with a really strict timetable. Let's keep in mind here, while there is development time into making these games newer, making them compatible, making them look good and that stuff, in my opinion, it is far easier to take an old game, move assets over, and fix broken things to work on a new system than it is to build from scratch. Or if you're just borrowing assets and are building from scratch, you get shortcuts that can work, right? Because you already know what the game looks like. So if you're just improving textures, all you have to do is make better textures and work that in. Now, I'm not a game developer. I understand I have a very short view of what that would look like. I get that. But reading articles about how the remakes have gone, the criticisms about how these remakes went, it just sounds like the least amount of effort was in there. I posted an image, and I'll see if I can get it in here. Let me see if I can get it. I posted an image. Okay, browse. I don't know if this is going to show up right. I'll try to get it in. But I posted an image about basically the philosophy of Rockstar. Here we go. We'll do this one. And it showed up right. All right. So I showed this image, and it was makes GTA Trilogy Remake, uses the least amount of effort possible, and then it's no one wants remakes. No one wants remasters. And it's like, that's not what this is. That's not what the case is at all. You put the least amount of effort in the project you were making. And I want to be clear that I don't think this was an accident. This should have been an easy project. They outsourced it. Here's the first step in this plan they did. They outsourced the remake to Grove Street Games. Now, Grove Street Games does do some development. But as I understand it, I couldn't find the comments from people that worked at Grove Street Games. But I remember seeing an article talking about how they were not prepared for this. And they did not feel this was going to be something that was easy to do. But Rockstar threw it to Grove Street Games and expected them to do this. Now, also keep in mind that what they redevved was not from the original catalog. They were the mobile ports, which got reviewed badly on iPhone because they didn't play well. So Grove Street Games was already given a broken product to work with and then move back over to a non-mobile platform. So somebody else worked, I don't know who, somebody else worked to port the original games to mobile, which takes significant work to make those work on mobile. And then basically another company was handed a project to expand the mobile versions to work back on console. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. There were going to be problems. From what I understand, an internal chatter at Grove Street, they knew this. And they were rebuilding in Unreal. At the time, it was Unreal Engine 4. So they had quite the ton of work ahead of them to get this to even resemble a working, functioning product. So once it got released, it was awful. Everybody remembers what it looked like, how bad everything looked. It was awful. And again, it's an opinion piece, but Rockstar blamed Grove Street Games. They let them take the brunt of that. And in my opinion, too, the work that was needed to fix these wasn't that bad. There were people that had PC copies of this remaster that were able to fix this within a week of release. they were making mods that were fixing the game. So a lot of people, you know, were getting things done. Oop, trying to get this more manageable here, so I guess they were making mods for PC that made it work, and I think some people had even offered to help Grove Street / Rockstar to make this work. Now here's the response. This is from CNET. Here is the response. Oops. Copy. Why is that? I don't want to cast that. Here is kind of a time capsule view, of the mess of the GTA trilogy remaster. Now, they took ownership. They had said, you know, if it wasn't the quality that they expected from whatever, and it's like, yes, but that's the problem. Rockstar wasn't working on this. It was Grove Street Games, and they were given very limited resources, a very limited timetable, and told, here, do this. Rockstar has access to the content. They could have done something better, but they didn't. And again, that's not a mistake. I don't think that's a mistake, and I'll explain why. What's funny is once the mods started coming out, they started DMCAing modders that were fixing the game. So if we add that to the collection of crap this storm was, they didn't want a remaster to work. They didn't. That pales in comparison to the money they can make off of an online platform game. That's all there is to it. They had no interest in fixing the game. They wanted to sell copies of it. People were stuck with those copies. Let's also remember that at the same time this was getting released, they were delisting the original GTA versions from Xbox and everywhere else. They were removing them. Steam lost the original titles. Now, I don't know if Steam has them. I'm going to check real quick here and see what's in there. Now, I have original copies. So if you have original copies, congratulations, you can play those. They'll still work. But if you want to buy the original copies, even though they look worse, I'm going to look up San Andreas. That's what I'm going to look up. Yeah. I'm doing quick search, and I'm not even seeing it. I'm going to do just Grand Theft Auto. Because when I was looking this up, it looks like temporarily they had removed... There we go, I got the full list. The originals that were playable did work as is, and made it so you could only get the definitive edition. So I'm looking at the Steam list right now, and what I'm seeing in here, I'm not going to pull the window over because I had a problem before, but you can go in Steam and do this. If you don't believe me, go look in Steam. All there is the definitive. That's it. That's all you can buy. You can't get the originals anymore. And in this case, I'm not even seeing the definitives anymore. Let me do another search here. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Trill OG? Okay. So I'm at this point in time, I'm not even seeing the trilogy on Steam. Now, I know it's on Xbox. I know it's there. But did they dump that because people were still modding? Is that what happened? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to look it up now because that's going to be a rabbit hole to jump down. I don't want to get into now. But so the fact that you can't buy Definitive Edition on Steam at this point is really concerning. After all this fell out, the Definitive Edition trilogy got released and got bad reception. I'm going to shoot a bunch of links out here, and I'll name them off as it's there. After that, Rockstar / Take-Two said, we're no longer going to remake or remaster Grand Theft Auto 4. That's this link coming in now. We're not going to remake or remaster Red Dead Redemption. Those aren't happening anymore. Both before and after they made the announcement about not revamping those, they DMCA'd the Grand Theft Auto 4 definitive project, telling them they had to pull all the mods or they were going to get sued. Bonehead move. Rockstar could have paid a small fee to those modders to incorporate the mods into a PC version and help them port it to the console versions. Would have had a quick cash grab. Didn't want it because they weren't doing it, had no control over it. They DMCA'd more GTA mods with DMCA. Here's a link for that. They here's an opinion piece or an article on why the classic mods for other Grand Theft Auto games and the reason why GTA as a series did not need to die, because now it's making it very hard. Let me get this copied over. Very hard to find those old copies. I do resell, as I hit my mic here, I do resell as a primary career, and the value on these games has gone up in the resale marketplace. Why? Because they're not available anymore. If you don't have a PC version that you can install yourself, you can't buy some of these versions online anymore. Good luck. Good luck playing those games. This is from Dual Shockers. So one was The Gamer. The first one was The Gamer, was from. Two are from Kotaku. I trust them. They've usually got pretty good content. This last one is from Dual Shockers, and it's the Take-Two witch hunt against GTA. So this implicates directly Take-Two Interactive in doing this, not Rockstar. So, Take-Two could blame Rockstar, but ultimately they run Rockstar, right? It's Take-Two. They're the parent company. So it's really kind of crap they're doing this. And why would they do this? Why would they kill the modding community for a game that people love? Because they don't want people buying those old copies. That's why they're making them unavailable to you. At best, they want you to buy the crap product they put out. At worst, they don't want you buying those. They only want you playing the new content. Because of current licensing stuff, I don't think there's anything they can do to get you to stop paying the PC copies you purchased. That I know of. Also, I think they know that if they could and did, people would just find a way around them, preventing you from installing or playing the game. So there's that. Take-Two / Rockstar, they're only concerned about the money. Even if the content offered is for free, i.e. somebody saying, hey, we'll fix your mess for you, it doesn't matter. They don't want it because they don't want to make money off that. They want the money off the bigger portion. A lot of people didn't want the remaster due to the poor quality, and I talked about it before. So what did they do? Here's an article that talks about, and this is from Sportskeeda. They're an okay organization. They usually reference their content from other sources, but that works. They talked about how in here at the time when they were releasing the definitive edition, they yanked the originals from all the markets, meaning that if you could once upon a time buy Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, you could no longer buy it anymore. And the only reference to that I can find at this point of where it happened and still is happening is this link to the Xbox store. Here is a link for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the Xbox 360. You can go there, but it's not available to purchase separately. This is not a definitive edition or a remaster version. It's that version, but you can't buy it. And this is why me and people I know keep physical copies of games. Because to a degree, those are still viable to work in some shape or fashion. Even if on the Xbox they decide to cut out the 360 and make it so I can't play San Andreas, it wouldn't matter because I can emulate an Xbox 360 and still play those games. And this is why emulation is important. In a way, emulation, if you take away the scare tactics, it's piracy, it's preservation of games, which is not happening in a lot of places. Unless there's money to be made off of backwards compatibility, generally there's no preservation of video games. It doesn't happen. So again, we're getting very close to the end, guys. Hopefully we can get this wrapped up in the next few minutes here. And to me, this is predatory. This method of selling product and removing product and gating people out of stuff and milking them for cash is predatory. I don't want a new product if it's going to be that bad. I don't. If it's going to be the release quality of like a remake, I don't want it. But that's where it's predatory because like, they didn't want it, so we're not going to do these anymore. And that's the thing is that I think at the time I posted that meme, I put that together. This was before they announced they weren't doing GTA 4 and Red Dead Online as a remaster. I had just kind of predicted that they're going to say they're not going to do the others. And there were a few people that argued, no, they still will. They still will. No, they're not. That's what they used. They fabricated a response from the people. They elicited the response they wanted. Could they have fixed it? Sure. Have they completely? No. Have there been improvements? Yes. Have they been all that great? No, not really. Is it better and playable, more playable? Yes. Are there still game-breaking glitches? Yes. Again, you're patching and fixing a mobile version of a game that was converted from the full retail to the mobile back out. It's like making a clone of a clone. Things are going to go bad. Anybody that knows basic science, it's going to go bad. So let's move on to kind of the the next to last section here, which is why so long to create GTA 6? Why did it take so long for them to get in the dev cycle or even get to the point where they're going to make GTA 6 even though people were asking for it? Well, there's a few reasons for this, quite simply. I'm not going to go too expansively into everything, just quickly here. GTA Online was still too profitable. There was no need to make another game until the money started to disappear from GTA Online. Once they had diminishing returns on GTA Online, that was it. That was the time to start getting the rumors and everything in the works about a new GTA game, to get people to be hungry for a new game where they're going to be doing essentially the same thing with just different characters and where they can up the cash grab. The other reason, they were needing to test out features. I think that's why some of the features like the casino, in particular the casino, were made the way they were. Would people use the casino? Would people visit the casino? Would it be popular? And I'm talking the gambling section. And I think the answer is yes. I see tons of videos where people gamble thinking they're going to make money in game. Not that they can use in real life. That's never going to be reality. That's never going to be a thing. But you're going to create gamblers within the GTA atmosphere that are going to do the same thing they would in life. Gamble away their time to hopefully get things that they want that they can't obtain normally and still lose. The difference here is that they'll spend on whatever the equivalent of shark cards. I don't know if they're going to have a new card type. I would assume whatever we see in premium currency is going to have a different name. But people will spend their lives away on shark cards and gamble them. How many people have done this? I don't know. I would say that with as many gambling problems as we have in this planet, especially in the United States, there are people addicted to gambling that we're paying to gamble in game. That's not even a question in my mind. And then the last reason I could think of just looking at everything was this was a long-term stress test on the audience. Beyond it being a testing ground for content for a new game, this was a long-term stress test on the audience. GTA Online was used to see how well players respond to different things. How much money could they extract from the player base? How much shady things could they get away with? How much horrible things could they do before people said I've had enough? And unfortunately for the player base, this experiment ran so well, they know now that they can extract thousands of dollars per player. I don't know. I tried to find a number and I couldn't because I wanted to know what the average amount of money spent per player thus far was, but I don't know that. I'm not privy to that information. But you know, you can make estimates. This game's made billions at this point. You know, let me see year to date how much money Grand Theft Auto Online has made. So I'll put this article in here. This is from Pro Game Guides. I'll throw this right in here because I have to keep these for the YouTube video as well. That was a long link. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I copied that twice. So ignore that last part there. I don't think I can edit those, but oh well. And again, you guys will be able to, I'll clean these up when I get them in the YouTube vid for everybody else. But a financial study conducted by NetBet revealed that GTA 5 earns $911 million a year and a staggering $2.5 million every day. GTA 5 has made more money than any other piece of media, including books, films, and games. Even Avatar, the highest-grossing film ever, only earned $2.8 billion. Now, does this article have a date? It does. This article came out August 3rd, 2022. So let's see if they've got a count in here. They don't, but I'd have to find the origin date of the game. But GTA 5's success is unprecedented. Even among other games, Minecraft, the best-selling game of all time, has earned only $3 billion in game sales. So, okay, here we go. Ever since its release, Grand Theft Auto 5 has made over $6 billion. $6 billion. And so, you know, that's in that same article I linked in. How many people play GTA 5? Let's check that out. Charlie Intel, I don't know what it is, but let's look at their estimate. We're just going to use rough numbers for estimate here. The only platform which we can see accurate GTA Online player account stats is Steam, where over 90,000 players log in every day, with the peak hitting around 150,000. So this means Steam sees roughly 2.5 million GTA players every month. I'm going to be generous here, okay? We'll do 7.5 million. We'll say each console, so each section, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, each sees 2.5 million players, okay? And if I can do the math right, I always screw these up, so forgive me, guys. But 7.5 million. Oops, too many zeros there. 7.5 million players, and we're going to divide that by 6 billion. I did that completely wrong. Hold on here. I'm bad at math. So 6 billion divided by 7.5. That means that if you just do a rough averaging, and granted, this is a rough estimate, that means that each person that has played this game has spent an average of $800. Now, granted, that's fuzzy because there's some variables in there. Right? Some people have spent nothing. Others, you'd have to include in that maybe the $60 they paid for the game. Who knows? But still, even if it's only $500 per person, that is ridiculous that much money's been spent. Now, to date, I've never bought a shark card. I'm one of the outliers that has never broke down and bought a shark card in here. I think I've redeemed one, which was the lowest, and I think I got like a $100,000 shark card that was in a code at one point somewhere in a giveaway or something. But that's it. I've never bought any shark cards in this game, and I refuse to. I can't support via buying shark cards, supporting this kind of terrible, setup. But yeah, they ran a long-term test to see a stress test in the audience, what they could get away with, what they could do, those kind of things. And I think that's the other concerning portion. They know now what they can get away with and what they can do. So therefore, they know what buttons they can push, what motivators there are, and what they can do in a newer Grand Theft Auto game. So in that, let's get to our last section here about the main portion itself, which is the future of Rockstar Take-Two games and GTA 6. And to clarify, I'm only focusing on the Rockstar franchises, mainly Grand Theft Auto, because that at this point is the bigger seller. It's the bigger problem. So based on everything we've looked at, I have concern for future games from this company. Well, I think less likely, I still see Rockstar Take-Two implementing NTFs in this game. NTFs are kind of less popular as they were before, but I would not put it past Rockstar to include NFTs into the game. I foresee this being a thing. It's catchy with kids, and we do know kids have a huge player base in here. It's also a way for people to make money. If gambling isn't going to make people world money, if Rockstar was to implement NFTs into this game, make you sign some kind of 18 or older license agreement, they would incentivize people to buy into the game without affecting the game. You're not buying stock here. You're buying an NFT that they own that resides on one of their servers. If you don't know NFTs, go look up some videos on NFTs and how it's a ripoff and see how bad this can get. And tell me, after learning about NFTs, how you could say Rockstar would never do this. Take-Two would never do this. It's the next best cash grab. I'm concerned about online gambling being added as well. I really do foresee a part where they incentivize you to gamble without making roll money. Unless they do the Hail Mary and they find a way to get legal gambling into Grand Theft Auto. But I don't see it happening again because it's like a pot with a hole in it, right? Because you can earn money in game, you could use that money to gamble, and if money's going to leave the game in that sense, it's not going to work. So I don't see gambling working in a full circular portion there. It's going to be strictly to get you to buy the equivalent of shark cards to make them more money. The item catalog is going to be even bigger. Expect that the cosmetics, cars, all that stuff, that catalog is going to be at least double the size as what we have now. This is going to incentivize you to pay more, and expect there to be adjustment in the prices. It's either going to be more affordable to get you to play more and buy more, or it's going to be more expensive to buy things. But depending on what they're doing, they need to make things more affordable so you're incentivized to buy more. One of my biggest concerns for gameplay is there's going to be no real solo mode. There will not be a mode you can hop into to play by yourself. You will be online all the time with other players, which can potentially destroy your ability to complete the game. I foresee that being a bigger issue into things that we need to be concerned with, because if it's there, I don't think I'm going to be enjoying this any. I would expect a free-to-pay model with a heavy incentive to pay for a monthly sub, or both, which is the game costs to buy. So like, say $80 at release with a $30 monthly sub. So essentially like Elder Scrolls Online does, you buy the base game or the DLC, but you still have to pay for a sub to pay. That's kind of what I see. You don't have to, but you're heavily incentivized to. There'll be benefits. I would hope that if that's something they do, they make the benefits a whole lot better than what GTA Plus is, because if you're going to charge $30 for a monthly sub, you're going to have to start including more than just what you have now. There's going to have to be a much better incentive. The amount of money you're giving away is going to have to be a lot higher. You bought the game, but you don't want to pay for a sub. Good luck making much progress. I foresee them heavily making it more pay to win in GTA 6. You want to play the game, great. Maybe you'll be able to get the base story done, very difficult like, but you're going to have to pay a significant amount of money, or not significant, but a monthly amount to reoccur. At this point, for Rockstar not to have some kind of monthly sub that charges around $29.95, I think it's insane at that point. Almost every other game with an online aspect is having a monthly sub. They're losing money, and I think they know that. I know a lot of people, some people will say that if they do this, they're going to lose money, but no. They let the interest percolate for GTA 6 for a while. They've done that on purpose and haven't even really said much about what's in there. We had the leak, but that leak was useless. As somebody pointed out, that leak that somebody apparently got stuff from, that's content that looks old and is from an earlier time. That's not even release level content or anything there. They can change all of that in a whim, or they may have developed way past that. Whatever got released is really of no thing there. Now, yes, you can say, but if it wasn't so important, Take-Two wouldn't have gone after the kid that did it. That's just to prove a point. Take-Two is known to be a notoriously dirty, horrible company. They go after modders with DMCA. They're going to sue whoever they can to get more money. They're going to sue whoever they can to make a point. That's it. It's like dealing with the mob. That's what it's like dealing with Take-Two. The same try-hard base and whales are going to pile on GTA 6 right away. The only difference between GTA 5 is an online component and GTA 6 is an online component, or just as it is that the adoption rate is going to be heavier. We're going to see a huge initial buy-in. At this point, casual or no-paying players are not the target audience. There is enough of a pre-built audience that they don't care. If someone like me says, hey, I'm not playing this game, it doesn't matter to them anymore. And their pricing strategy is going to account for that. They won't care. If 100,000 people decide they're not playing GTA 6, it doesn't matter. Because all they're going to lose is the cover cost off that, and the subscriptions are going to make up for that. Now, because of that, that may fix the cheating and modding issue, in that, because they'll be moving away and securing things better, because obviously if they find a pricing strategy they like, they're not going to want people cheating at the game. So we may see cheating eliminated and better off, but they're going to mask it with something and say, oh, because better technology and whatnot, that's what we've got. It's not the case. That's not going to be the case at all. It's not going to happen. It's because they found a pricing strategy that works for them. And they just won't care. This is going to be its own MMO-like experience, and the player base is pre-baked in. Again, they already knew who they're marketing to. It's not me. They're not marketing to the casual player like me that doesn't plan on playing this day after day. They're just not. In the same way that World of Warcraft doesn't market to me. They market to the regular players. While they do have marketing to get people to come in, and casual players, it's not the same as for their hardcore audience. And that's what's going to be incentivized. This game will sorry guys, there's more water here. It's going to most likely last longer than GTA Online has. Now, GTA Online is what, 6 years or more? I forget. Let's look that date up real quick. We'll do 5 been out. GTA 5 been out. It's come out in 2013. So we're so I said 7 years, 8 years is what we're at. So that's where we're at in that it's been out for a while. I don't think that's right. Again, I'm bad at math on my head. Sorry. I'm good at computer stuff, not math. 9 years. It's been out for 9 years. So I would venture to say that we're going to see whatever GTA 6 is in the online component, it is going to last a lot longer. And I think to a degree that's going to have to be kind of the lifespan of a lot of games. Now, WoW's been around forever. So we know it's doable, and we know it can keep a player base in. Yes, the numbers have dropped a little bit in WoW. They have dropped some, but they're still getting people in. And even as much as people criticize, where World of Warcraft is going, they still have people actively playing it. Malicious K, how's it going? Not like Rockstar anymore because he's not make single player games anymore. Yeah, and that's what I've been talking about this whole thing, just how awful they've become as a company. Take-Two, really. I mean, Rockstar is their underling, but still, yeah, it's become awful. I think that the next iteration of GTA is going to be a 15-year life cycle game. I think that they're already planning out the content they want based on what they have done in GTA 5 and GTA Online, that they know exactly what levers to pull, what buttons to push to keep the game alive, when to release content, how to extract money. I think they even have it down to a science of how much money to get from each player to make the game continue to be profitable, when to release major content updates to make that. I think they have a very good roadmap. I don't think they're behind in that respect like everybody is. A lot of people are like, they're still planning. No, they already know what they're doing. They have the paper portion of things done. They're just adding a paint job to it at this point. They can easily fix things in the game. Again, they can pull a lever, so to speak. Todd Howard said that if in Fallout 76, if Bethesda's thinking this, a company like Rockstar is definitely way ahead of that. They know what levers to pull exactly. Todd Howard I'm going to misquote this a little bit, but he essentially said, yeah, if we think that there's something wrong with the game or it's not doing what we want, we have certain levers we can pull back to make this work, Malicious cases, Rockstar's like EA now with the money-milking players. I think they're worse. I think they're worse than EA, actually. I think that EA hit a wall with loot boxes and some of the other stuff. I think that Rockstar / Take-Two learned how to milk players even more. I was saying earlier, I definitely see a possibility where NFTs make it into the newest Grand Theft Auto setting. I think they're going to find ways to milk players beyond the equivalent of shark cards. They're going to be making more money. This model, though, all in all, yeah, agreed. He is definitely the culprit for all this. With all that being said, this method of this model of game is bad for the entire industry, because unfortunately, as Malicious K was talking about, they're like EA. I think that Rockstar is worse than EA, and I think that EA could look at something like this. They're watching; these companies are watching so they can pull money from. If you want an example of how it bleeds over and possibility there, look at the Marvel Avengers game and the cosmetics fiasco and how difficult it is to play the game. Is it pay to win? Kind of. I can't say entirely, but it is kind of. And when you have a game where people have to pay up to get ahead, it will keep the player base toxic. Because the only people that are going to stick around are the people that can really, really spend money to get ahead in the game. Past that, you're gonna have players that drop off, and they need that toxicity in there. That is a part of the Rockstar formula for their online games. They need people to be toxic. If people aren't toxic, they're not going to be competitive. They're not going to be competitive to be so upset that they got beat that they'll drop $20 to $40 to buy a new car or a new gun or whatever it is. And my hope is that companies like EA don't adopt this model, but I just can't help but think they will somehow. And we'll see. I think 2023 is going to be an interesting year for games. There's a lot of good stuff that looks to be coming out, but I also think that once GTA 6 is announced and more of the details are firmed up, we're going to see other companies introducing similar things once there's some runoff. I would say within the first year of GTA 6 being released, whatever play model GTA 6 has, / GTA 6 Online, that's going to start being adopted in other games. We're going to see a shift, a fundamental shift in newer online games and how they handle money making. You're going to see that. We've already seen some pretty ugly things done in World of Warcraft. We've already seen some ugly stuff that EA's done. We've potentially seen some ugly stuff with how, and again, the NFT thought I had was because particularly Ubisoft was trying to implement NFTs in one of their games. I forget which one, but they were trying to implement NFTs in their game. It didn't go over well. As for the player base, they're reading the leaks, which, again, I think the leak stuff, whether they arrested a 17-year-old kid or not, doesn't matter to me, because I think that was all a PR stunt fabricated by Rockstar. Now, on the sake, I like to add in just that little bit of speculation that I can't prove a lot of things, but what if the kid was a part of that scheme? What if they put on a big show to make it look like a 17-year-old was part of a group that hacked somebody's Slack, and hacking is ridiculous in that case, but whatever. He got the credentials of somebody's Slack account and pulled all that information out. I mean, realistically, wouldn't Rockstar have a better, more secure platform than Slack for internal communications? I just, while I know companies can be sloppy and I know companies can be bad about things like this, all of it sounds way too convenient, and it sounded like a PR drop, an advertising drop of pregame to see where the excitement for Grand Theft Auto 6 was. Twitter went on fire after that stuff was leaked, and it got the speculation machine running. It got people amped for a game that is, not even ready to be released yet. And it got them attention and feedback is what it did. If people saw early leaks, they could put out a feature. And for example, they put out it was a female protagonist. They wanted to see how well over that would go. And then what happened? Once they had talked about female protagonist, then we had a leak about what she looked like, and then suddenly everybody was okay with it. And for example, I think I talked about this earlier and screwed up my order, but once they had said, there was a female character, people were like, oh, the game's going woke. Then when they showed her, people were fine with it. So, and a lot of people that simp for this company think Rockstar is going to do just magical things. And I'll give you an example. An article I read today was how they were talking about a timer. I'm going to put this in here for police, so that, like, let's say you robbed a bank, you would have 6 minutes to get out of there before the police arrived. But while that may change the wanted system, that creates other complications in the game, because that's going to create a lot of different issues with an online world. I don't think that's actually going to be a feature. If it is, great, bad on me for getting it wrong, but I don't think it's going to be there. But a lot of people, and there is a huge segment of the Grand Theft Auto fan base that is ignorant to how games work. Completely ignorant. I've heard people say they're going to make it so that you can actually make money in Grand Theft Auto 6. You could quit your job and just play Grand Theft Auto 6. That's not going to happen. It's not, because that would involve Rockstar / Take-Two losing money. So it's not going to happen. I look forward to reading all of the speculative stuff people put out and critiquing it, criticizing it here and there. I'm not going to spend a lot of energy on it. It's probably not going to be a big stream unless I start seeing ridiculous stuff. I'm just going to kind of laugh at it, but we'll see what happens. But it's probably not going to be a stream or anything. So last section here before we end everything out. We're about 7 minutes past the 2-hour mark here on my side. Will I play the new GTA? It depends. I put it depended in my notes. Should just talk about the script writing at some point. It's laughable. Will I play it? It depends. I'll have to wait and see. There's a couple of factors. If it requires a monthly commitment, no, I most likely won't. If they expect me to pay $30 a month to play GTA 6, an online component to that, or if I'm forced to be in that, I'm not going to play it. If there's no solo mode, no solo story, I'm not going to play it. It won't happen. If it's pay to win, I won't play the online. Again, if there's a story mode, I'll play the story mode. That's the only money they're going to get from me in that respect. But if it's pay to win and I can only play online, no, I will not be playing this game. If it's all about grinding exceptionally hard for money just to never really make any progress, I'm out. I do not want the same experience that GTA 5 / online was for grinding money. More so the online aspect. No interest in that. And I'm someone that says that I live for the grind. But there's got to be significant progress I can make by grinding. So those are things that are really going to influence whether I play GTA 6 or not. That's it, It's really got to be something that's going to be doable, interesting, and fun. It cannot be this monotonous grind that is punishing when you're stuck with other players. I can't. It's not something I want to do. So with that, guys, that's the end of the entire, segment here on whether Rockstar Games has gone too far or not. In a brief, short answer, yes, I believe they have. I believe they've overreached, and they're now milking people for money, have been, and they're gouging them, and it's going to get worse. So have they gone too far? Yes. If that's all you came for the answer, yes, they've gone too far. In my opinion, they've gone too far. So, if anybody has any questions or comments thus far on things, feel free to put them in. We haven't had too many people in tonight. Again, this format's still fairly new, so I'm not expecting a lot out here. We're probably going to get more views on the gameplay stuff we do than these, but I want to have these out here. If you're watching on YouTube and you've made it through the entire 2 hours, 9 minutes thus far, congratulations, you've made it through. If you have any comments, questions to add, please do so down below. Anybody that was here, Frank Poppy for attending, man, I thank you for being here. And Malicious K, sorry you caught the tail end, man, but welcome in, and I hope you enjoyed what you got there on the tail end of this. If you're viewing this on YouTube, please like, share, and sub. Really appreciate it if we get this out there. I really do appreciate getting the exposure for this. I'm expecting, of any video I've posted thus far, I expect this one to get the worst comments on YouTube. We'll see what happens. This channel's still growing back up because we were off air for a while, but yeah, Frank Poppy, it's always nice to have you in, man. I think we're gonna have good times coming up after a bit because I do have to revisit some old titles. We've talked about that, some Dead Island stuff, and we got Dying Light and whatnot. So I think that'll be kind of feeling like home again for a bit since we were there. So we'll see what we can get into. Definitely a lot of places I want to take this channel. This is a component of that. I wanted to be more out there. As far as these, we are going to take a break from the Monologue. Oh, they're good games for sure. Dead Island and Dying Light, yeah, they're great. They're definitely games that I dumped a lot of time in before I really got heavily into Division, I believe. So I'm still liking doing this format, whether it's getting the views or not. I still like doing these, and I like having them out. So they take a little bit longer to edit for multiple reasons, and I hate that, but that is the digital content creation life. What we're gonna go to in next Sunday's video, I'm gonna try to. This will be my first time doing this. We're going to be going over a guide of sorts. We're going to be describing some stuff for Division 2, specifically explaining the recal workbench, optimization, and that kind of stuff. And the format is going to be, I want to spend about 2 hours working with that. Now, that's hard for me because I have to pre-grind a lot of stuff to get everything. Crafting materials, guns, all that stuff, armor. I have to get all of that stuff together so I can present it properly in the video to answer questions and stuff. So I have to get a lot of materials together. I have to fill up my inventory, do that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to put some serious hours into Division to do that. I may run a Division stream on Monday just to get some of that done and get some levels into the season pass. So we'll see. I haven't decided. I really want to do Warframe again, but I'm not in a hurry to get through Warframe at this point. I'm in a hurry to get through Division. So, but we're going to be talking about that most likely on Sunday. If I can get everything together that I need, we're going to be talking about optimization, because as I've gone over that and played with other people and seen forums and everything else, it still seems to be one of the more confusing parts of Division 2, and I want to kind of clear that up a bit. So, but we'll see what's going on there. We will get to other topics, but I do want there to be, while I'm doing the optimization stuff, I want that to be a Q&A heavy section. I want people to really try to understand if they're trying to enjoy that part of Division 2. So, but again, thank everybody for viewing. I really do appreciate it. I'll get this over to YouTube as soon as possible. Again, the editing is what takes the longest on this, but I hope to have that up tomorrow afternoon. And then, yeah, we'll be back on Monday. We'll probably do some Division 2 to get materials and get some season levels is what I'll try to do. So I think that's what we're going to be at for that. So Frank Poppy says, just did an all-day grind in Warframe. Got myself some experience boosters, so I'm just making a lot of progress. Nice. Yeah, those experience boosters do a really good job. So, yeah, enjoy it, man. Get what you can. Yeah, I've got to get through more of the beginning story missions on there to get further. So I'm going to have to do some more grinding on there, and it's just getting the time in. So, and getting standing up and stuff and whatnot. So I really want that Rhino frame, though. That's what I'm after. I kept calling the Excalibur the Rhino because the horn, but I do actually want the Rhino frame because it can tank so well. So that's, it's going to take some time getting there. But I foresee that being a nice game to run on stream to get a ton of stuff earned. I have fun with it. So, but yeah, it's going to be a fun time, guys. But yeah, most likely we'll be doing Division 2 on Monday, so look forward to that. So Division 2 Monday at 7 p.m. till about 9. We'll try to keep it within that time range. I'll definitely answer questions in there. So if you have questions about Division 2, definitely get them there. I'll put that in the tweets I do subsequently and whatnot. So, but for now, guys, that's all we got. That is the stream for this Sunday. I thank everybody for dropping by on the monologue about Rockstar / Take-Two games and where I see them going and whatnot. So until next time, guys, I appreciate everybody stopping by. You have a good night too, man. Later, guys. We're going to cut to black real quick and then to the outro. Bye.